Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Will, and today we're going to be focusing on taking my last video, which is posted up here, about creating macros to mimic yourself, your own Elgato Stream Deck style setup for free or for up to 20 bucks, depending on what you wanted, if you wanted to buy a fancy little keypad or something. We're going to take that one step further, and we're going to do voice commands. So we're going to, instead of having to push a button to control your stream, you're going to say a word or a key phrase to control your stream. For example, BRB. All I had to say was the phrase BRB, and it would automatically do the scene transition and play that audio file. So it launched an audio file, and it did a scene transition just by saying BRB. And you'll notice right now it's not doing it as I continue to say BRB, because it's smarter than that. The software we're using called VOICEATTACK, which you can find on Steam, and I'll show you in just a second, is smart enough to know the difference between conversational speech and intentional speech. So it knows that I'm not trying to launch that scene by saying BRB in a sentence compared to saying it on its own. So it works really well. It's super awesome. And that's kind of the first stop. So we'll go ahead. We'll jump right into Steam. You'll search VOICEATTACK, download VOICEATTACK. There's a demo version, which is, simpler. It has some limitations. And then then you can buy it, and it's 12 bucks. So even if you bought the full version, it's still pretty affordable. I recommend doing it. Support the devs. It's great software. It works amazingly. It's been flawless for me so far. And the second program, which I'll also link, is called Noobs Commander. So if you watched my last video, you already know what this is. You know how it works. But if you don't, I'll give you a quick tutorial. But I recommend watching the last video to get the full thing. What Noobs Commander does basically is it allows you to create executable files that launch things inside of OBS. So let's say typically if you add a macro that pulls up a picture or a GIF, it would just pull it up on your desktop, and then it would just appear in your desktop. But we want these things to launch inside of OBS so that even if I'm playing a game, you still see it. It'll still pop up as its own item compared to just right over your top of your desktop, which isn't necessarily fun. You don't really want that. So this will launch a program inside of OBS. Not only that, but it'll also launch that scene transition, things like that. Like you can't really program a hotkey properly or effectively that will launch a scene transition that doesn't have some sort of implications. So again, watch the other video. It makes a lot more sense. Just know you're going to want Noobs Commander for this. So download Noobs Commander, have it ready. The video linked right up here will explain all the rest of it if you're still curious why we're using Noobs Commander. But in here, it's pretty straightforward. As long as you have regular OBS, not Streamlabs OBS, Noobs Commander will automatically connect to your OBS account. You don't want Streamlabs OBS in general. I know it looks a little nicer, it looks a little more modern, but there's a lot of limitations. I would recommend just taking the hit, switch over to regular OBS. There's so many more things you can do with regular OBS. It's even more open source than Streamlabs is. I'll even link that down in the description just so you can hop over and download it real quick. Noobs Commander is going to be what we're going to use to create our commands. So we're literally going to create commands for my voice to activate inside OBS. So we're going to do a basic source is what this is going to do. So if you know anything about your OBS setup, here, I'll pull this up here so you can look at it. You have your scenes. So these are the different scene options you have. And then you have sources, and these are what is inside the scene. So, webcam, the monitor, my capture card, my mic, things like that. You can add an additional scene. For example, what we're going to be using is the fist bump animation. So we're going to just look it up. I already have them made because I use it, and we'll just put it in here, fist bump. And now I have this source. Now you can see it's doing this little fist bump animation. It's not doing it on a loop, so it doesn't work that way. Even though GIFs are technically images, I recommend using or launching them as media sources. So when you add it, do a media source instead of an image, and I'll show you why real quick. Media sources give you a few different options. So first of all, you have the ability to loop it or not loop it. So have it continuously go or only have it run the one time the GIF runs. You can also adjust the speed of it too. So you can slow down the GIF, speed up the GIF. It's really cool little extra tools you get there. So I recommend adding it as a media source. It's just better, more options instead of running it as an image. But that's what we're looking for. This fist bump source is what we're going to use. We're going to turn this on and off. So we're going to set it to show and hide. So inside Noobs Commander here, you'll actually have the option to, when you go to add a new source, you can toggle the source, show or hide. I use show and hide instead of toggle because it allows me to use different phrases. So if I were to use toggle source, I would have to say fist bump to activate it and then fist bump again to deactivate. But if I use toggle source, I can say fist bump to show source, and then I can say nice, for example, which is what I have it set up to do, to hide source. So I can go fist bump, nice, and then it activates and deactivates it. So it's a little more fluid. It sounds better. I have this set up on my gaming scene, so I'll just show you it that way. So, and then I want to launch what I showed you, the source fist bump. That's what I want to launch. So then I'll go ahead and export this file. And what this is doing, this is creating that executable file. This is creating that launch file, the launch program to make that happen. And then just fist bump. I already have it there, so we'll just save over it because it's the same thing. And then I'm going to have to make a second source for this particular setup. So we're going to do another source, hide source, gaming, same thing, fist bump. So instead of show source, we're going to hide source. And we're going to export that, same way we did last time. Except we're going to do this one. I named this one fist bump hide, so I know what it is. And save it there. So now we have two programs. One will launch the fist bump animation. One will hide the fist bump animation so that I can launch it again later. And that's all we have to do in Noobs Commander. That's all set. That's ready to go. And then next we're going to go into VOICEATTACK. So you have VOICEATTACK downloaded and ready to go. This can be a little overwhelming because it's just kind of tracking everything I'm saying, which is irrelevant at this point. You can just ignore all this. It's kind of just your log of things you've said. And you go straight to the pencil here. So if you look right over my head, this pencil icon, click that. And then you'll see a list of available things here. So you'll have like actions. Over here you'll have spoken commands. So what this means is whenever I say one of these phrases here, it'll activate this action. And that's how it's set up. But do keep in mind, when you launch this for the first time, there will be a list of preset commands. Most of them are basically irrelevant. You can more or less ignore them. I went through and actually deleted all of them. I didn't care about them. I didn't want to use them, so I just deleted them. And that's kind of what you start with. So it can look a little funky. It won't look like this. But from there, once you've cleared out the list or kept ones you want to use, because some of them you might find useful, like there's basic ones like that launch your start menu or open up your browser source, things like that. What we're going to do is we're going to go make new command. So what this new command is, we're going to name it fist bump, because that's what I want to say, fist bump. So when I say, you can see right here, when I say fist bump, it does that. You can also do when I press a key, when I press a button, when I press a mouse key, things like that. You can have it, certain things will trigger certain things. But I have it when I say, because we're focusing on voice. And then we're going to jump right down to this other option, because we're going to launch an application. Because remember, all of the Noobs Commander files we've created are applications that are launchable. So we're going to go down here to Windows, Run Application, and we'll search for that application. You'll notice that your Documents folder is where all your commands that you made went. I have a folder called Noobs specifically for it, and in here you'll see fist bump. So an important thing to know is you have two different versions. So you have a VBS script and a batch file. You don't want to launch the batch file because the batch file will launch the animation that you want, but it will also launch the command prompt. So if you know what the command prompt is, then you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, it's a little black box. It's got a bunch of text in it. You don't want that to pop up every time you launch your animation. So you can actually go ahead and just delete that. You can delete all of these batch files because you'll never need them. And you'll just want to launch the VBS script that you see right here. So just hit, actually let me scooch this over so you can make sure you can see. So the VBS script, you can delete all the batch files, keep the VBS script ones, launch that. So you can see right here, it's set up there, okay. And now you can see when I say fist bump, it will run application fist bump. And then you go ahead and okay, which I'm not going to because I already have this made. Yes. And then you hit apply. So you hit okay, then apply, and then it creates your command. And then now I'll show you how it works. It's very simple. I'll just get rid of that, minimize that, then I'll jump back to my gaming scene here. And then when I say the word fist bump, nice. The animation pops up, and then when I say nice, it turns it off. So it turns it on and off by saying fist bump and nice, because that's the way I programmed it. So it's a really nice way to add a little flavor to your stream. And like I showed you before, I even have the ability to do complete scene transitions, launch audio files. Inside of here, you can launch as many things as you want. So let's jump back to my normal screen. Under this, inside of one of these applications, so for example, I'll be right back. You'll see I'll have two things. I have run application BRB, which launches my transition into my BRB screen. And then I also have it play DBZ commercial break. So You can have as many things. You can have this play an audio file. You can have it do like light flashing. You can have it do 30 different things when you say, I'll be right back, or BRB, or whatever you want to program it to say. You can have it launch a ton of stuff. You can have it like go full rave party if you wanted to. And I've seen people do some pretty crazy stuff with it, where it mimics things from games, like different animations, things like that. It'll have the sound, the animation, it'll have distortions, all kinds of stuff. As advanced as you want to be, it can be. So keep that in mind. I'm doing some pretty basic stuff, just showing you some pretty basic stuff. This is still fairly new to me. Again, the whole idea with the channel for the most part is me learning how to do things and then explaining to you how I figured it out, what it is, how it works, how it can benefit you, things like that. So that's pretty much it for the video. Again, you can have it launch any application because we're creating those applications in Noobs Commander. So we're launching sources. You can have it toggle your mic on and off. You can do all kinds of stuff. So I use Noobs Commander to mute my audio in my stream. So yeah, you have it set to mute, unmute your mic. You have it toggle audio, so you can have it, if I go to audio source, I can go to mic, and then I can save this as its own thing, and then I can program it to a key on my keyboard, or I can program it to my mic. If I say the word mute, it can mute it, or if I say unmute, it can unmute it, things like that. You can program anything you want. It's really cool. Anything in OBS can be done here. It's really amazing. Noobs Commander allows you to do a lot of stuff. It allows you to make voice attacks super simple to program and use because you just run everything as an application because you've created everything into an application. Makes it so much easier to manage your stuff, control it, and I think that's pretty much all I got. So I don't know if you can tell, I'm a little passionate about this. The software is amazing. I think it's a really cool thing. It can really add a lot of spice to your stream. It's unique. Not many people, there's got to be a couple dozen, maybe 100 people that stream that have voice commands that control their stream. So it's a very unique, very interesting, very niche new thing to get involved in. So I definitely recommend taking advantage of it. I recommend taking a look at it. If you enjoyed the video, even though it's a little ranty, drop a like, subscribe to the channel for more new streamer-oriented content, and check out my previous videos if you have any more things, creating animated webcams, mic quality, lighting quality, all kinds of stuff like that. I cover a lot of different things. Cheap webcams, some pretty cool stuff. And again, linked right up at the top is the previous video, which I recommend watching first, which will teach you about HID macros and Noobs Commander in a little more depth. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.